Hey there everyone, it's Michael, and during this video I'm going to be sharing my experience with taking Teacrine as a nootropic supplement. I have now been using Teacrine for 4 years, although I have been taking it on and off, and I pretty much only use it like a few times a month. So in this video I'll share with you why. You'll learn about my experience taking Teacrine. I'll go over some of the research. We'll talk about how to take Teacrine, and stay tuned to the end of the video where I'll share with you whether or not I would recommend Teacrine as a nootropic supplement. But if you're new to the channel, then do consider subscribing. I post videos weekly sharing what could work with you as far as optimizing your productivity, and let's get right into the video. So what is Teacrine? It's a naturally occurring chemical that's found in teas and found in coffees that is very similar in structure to caffeine. As a matter of fact, the mechanism in which Teacrine works is almost identical to the mechanism in which caffeine works. And the way that I was first introduced to Teacrine was because it was promoted to be having the same benefits of caffeine without having some of the downsides that come along with caffeine. I'm taking caffeine pretty much every day, up to 400 milligrams daily, and I love the fact that with caffeine it makes me want to work, I get motivated, I get energized from taking it, but I dislike the fact that caffeine makes me very emotionally unstable, and I have sometimes anxiety, sometimes I experience these energy dips when I experience the crash. And let's not forget the fact that when we consume caffeine, we will likely build a tolerance to it, meaning that we need to consume more and more caffeine every single day for us to see the same benefits that we saw in day one. And this study over here does actually as well show that to be true. The study is called Time Course of Tolerance to the Performance Benefits of Caffeine. And what the study concluded was that there was a relative reduction in the ergogenic effects of caffeine when a moderate dose was used. So people were using it for 20 days and they needed to take more on day 20 than day 1 in order to see the same benefits. And it has been said that when you consume Teacrine, you are far less likely to build a tolerance to it in comparison to caffeine. So that's a major advantage. I do feel like I overthink a lot less when I use Teacrine. So it's got this really neat effect. And if you're somebody that is very sensitive to caffeine and you can't take caffeine because you feel anxious, you feel maybe too energized to get work done, then Teacrine may be right for you. I've known about this nootropic for a very long time. I've used it from different brands, from different types. I've tried different dosage protocols, yet I've always been a little bit disappointed. However, it does have a neat benefit, especially pre-workout, in the sense pre-workout, what's common is to take a lot of caffeine, 200 milligrams of caffeine plus. However, if you were to make the ratio such so that you have a ratio of 2 caffeine to 1 Teacrine, you'll find that you don't need to take as much caffeine and you still get that energetic benefit. So the way that I would be taking it is 200 milligrams of caffeine and 100 milligrams of Teacrine, and this works really well for me. When I'm taking a pre-workout, I don't typically want to take 300 milligrams or 400 milligrams of caffeine because that sets me up for this really bad crash afterwards. So a lot of people see this nice benefit when they mix the two, and as far as the research is concerned, research shows that it should be fairly safe to mix the two nootropics. So if you were to go ahead and try Teacrine by itself, you may be pretty disappointed, but a nice neat benefit to it is that it has this synergistic effect again with caffeine. What I really like about caffeine over Teacrine is the fact that caffeine is very mood promoting. I feel like it almost can reduce depressive symptoms for somebody who is in a bad time of their life. And along with that, you get this euphoric feeling when you take caffeine that you feel like anything's possible. And even though that feeling may not last, it could be enough to set you up to have a really good day, provided you get the most couple important things done. When I started taking Teacrine, I was very disappointed. In that Teacrine, I like the fact that it did make me more alert. It really helped me on those instances when I was a bit sleep deprived. However, where I was very disappointed was that caffeine was much better at improving my mood. With Teacrine, it is so subtle to the point that you really don't notice anything. And there's reports of that. People have to take crazy dosages of Teacrine in order for them to actually feel it. So it's a neat nootropic that way, in that it's not for everybody, but the individual that may really like Teacrine is somebody who finds caffeine to be too stimulating, or you're taking nootropics that will actually cause demotivation. Then if you pair that up with Teacrine, it can have a nice unique benefit of offsetting that bad effect, because nootropics out there like Bacopa or lion's mane and ashwagandha are known to somewhat demotivate you to some extent. So the way I see Teacrine used in a practical sense is not really by itself, but along with a nootropic stack, or as a foundation of a nootropic stack, it being that actual stimulant which will give you the energy, the focus, and the mental sharpness in order for you to move forward. And there unfortunately aren't too many studies done on Teacrine, but I'll point at a few specifically. This first one here, there were 3 groups. One group was taking no Teacrine per day, another group was taking 200 milligrams of Teacrine per day, and the last group was taking 400 milligrams of Teacrine per day. And the individuals that were using 200 milligrams of Teacrine per day did notice an increase in their willingness to exercise. They also noticed a decrease of anxiety and an increase in their motivation to train and their libido. However, the problem was that no such change was seen with the group that was taking 400 milligrams of Teacrine daily, which tells you that we definitely need more studies out there in order for us to successfully draw conclusions. For now, unfortunately, we just have anecdotes. What I can share with you from my experience in taking Teacrine, because I pretty much went like a couple years off of it, and then recently I decided to start using it along with caffeine, and I've noticed pretty good benefits. So it's an interesting nootropic that way, and like the synergistic effect you get with caffeine is to some extent safe based on the research. Research shows that there's no hazardous interactions with caffeine in adult humans. With Teacrine, it has like this nice effect similar to L-tyrosine of making the caffeine more effective, which has a lot of benefits because then you don't have to unfortunately take so much caffeine to the point that you may build a tolerance to it and need to take time off. One thing that's a little bit disappointing about Teacrine is it's not something that you would take while you're taking time off caffeine. So if you're like me, then from every so often you take time off of caffeine in order for you to reset your tolerance and give yourself a break. And ideally, you could use Teacrine during that time just to give you a little bit of a boost. But because Teacrine works on the same receptors, it wouldn't do its work that way, because you really wouldn't be giving like your brain or your body or your neurotransmitters the break that they need from caffeine's use. Something that the researchers did find during the 8-week study, which they did on healthy individuals, was that Teacrine did not improve fat burning, it didn't decrease fat mass, and didn't really have any benefits with respect to improving your physique, like improving your lean mass, which is very different to caffeine. With caffeine, it's known to be a thermogenic. Teacrine is not known to be a thermogenic. However, there was a study done where they took individuals that were doing a soccer simulation, and they were able to improve their performance. So with Teacrine's use, you can improve your performance, but it may not really help with fat loss. Whereas the way in which caffeine works is if you were to use caffeine pre-workout, it really enhances the whole lipolysis effect and helps you burn fat. So overall, I'm pretty much thumbs down on Teacrine. Again, it's more expensive, it's a little bit trendy, and it's simply not as effective. However, I do like its effect pre-workout. So I'm right now using Teacrine like pretty much twice per week on days which are very strenuous when I have hard workouts planned. And rather than taking a lot of caffeine, I prefer take my caffeine down just a little bit and throw some Teacrine in there pretty much just while I have the bottle. But once I'm finished with the bottle, I probably won't buy it again. I pretty much just bought it to make a product review. So this is the form which I'm taking. It's the Teacrine capsules, 100 milligrams from Nootropics Depot. However, I've tried this from a lot of different vendors over the years, and it hasn't really been such that any particular vendor was better than the other. But this is great for convenience. It's in 100 milligram capsules because the powder tastes absolutely awful. Thank you so much for your interest in nootropics. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do consider subscribing, and I'll look forward to seeing you all next time.